Nanda, you monega yon kuba mona communication bigante.
I will say no.
No.
Then why was it not changed?
Nena luta do dole goichi.
Waa xëj na jàng naa tamit lu bari si commission bi.
I think
xam ne wax dëgg yàlla binda lu am njëriñ la.
yes, from this commission I learned a lot and I realized that really writing is very important.
Because most of my communication si ak ministry bi sax dama di jóg rek ma dem wax ak ñoom.
Because
permanent secretary bi ma ñëwaat toog.
most of my communications with the ministry, I just go talk to them verbally, the permanent secretary, and I come back and sit down.
waaye si commission bi laa jàngee ne
But from this commission, I learned that
binda lu baax la.
writing is very good.
te jàng naa tamit ne
And I learned that too.
su nekkul si commission bi sax am na yeneen yu ma jànga.
Even about that, I learned a lot.
lu ma wan ne binda dafa baax.
That shows me that writing is very important.
Yeah, so I asked that because the CEO, if he does not forward the minutes of meetings, might have omitted so many important issues for you to be better informed.
Nena so ise mo hala lolo parce que so issued minutes munya mom nen lo nen that dila explain lo hamne lolo mo he for the meeting bi mun na ne kalu ko sa to la ko wa te o do ko ye.
Totally agree.
Yes, that is I agree to that.
Now, in which case the area council wouldn't have been managed in the most appropriate manner, because then you wouldn't have had the up-to-date information between the daily management, that is the CEO and staff, for a better supervision, supervisory role by the political branch, which is headed by the mayors. Okay. I'm saying, in the absence of forwarding the minutes to the mayors,
Nena lumo min fi mo ko be li ko amna mi xamne meeting si du ñu la ko de ici nena lolo si xewé si yow ici ñu la ko minutes.
you would not be in the position to administer the area council in the manner
Nena lolo nena tax do muna yobu council bi si yoon bi nga xamne
in the manner in which it is supposed to be governed,
bi nga xamne mbir mi non nga ko war yobe wala don nga ko war ko fane.
because now you will have inadequate information
Because lolo da taxne xibaar yu bari do ko mëna am da nga manche xibaar
from the chief executive and staff,
bi nga xamne joge na ko si chief executive ak staff am si.
because there's a gap in the reporting system.
Nena parce que société information bu la day jox moy reporting bi amna digante bo xamne ka bu mag mo fa nek.
You agree with that?
Nena nango nga si lool.
waa xam nga li drive council bi for the success of the council is not only the mayor.
You know what drives the council for council successful is not the mayor, only the mayor.
loolu is the council body.
That is the body of council.
so xëj na CEO su ma bañee wax dara.
I think if CEO refused to tell me something,
waaye su demee si general council
well, if he went to general council,
fi nga xam ne moom dafa dee toog.
where he always present,
li war a xam ne mooy drive the success of the council.
and what to drive success of the council,
loolu foofu daf ko faa wax.
that he will explain that to that place.
Does he forward the monthly minutes of meetings to general council?
Then our monthly meeting, singam ne ko def minutes in that of Kodio si general council.
Most of the time dinañu wax verbally lu gaay di wax.
Most of the time we will be informed verbally of what the meeting was all about.
waaye ndax daf ko fa dee forward man su ma toogee si council meeting yi ma dee chair.
Whether he used to forward the minutes to the council.
Mënuma remember whom in the minutes.
But for what the ones I'm present, I cannot remember him bringing any minutes.
But
So
I stand to be corrected.
Right, I stand to be corrected.
So which means the problem you have in relation to the CEO not forwarding the minutes to you is the same problem the council will also have, because he would not also submit in the manner in which he's supposed to the minutes of meetings to council for better communication.
Nena kon lolu lu mu wone wala lu mu min moy dafa melni yow nu mu la ñaké la ici minutes ci yow nga xamné minutes ñu def ci meeting bi nena mën na nek ben yoon bi la fele tamit ci council tamit dafa day yobu minutes yi pour won len lan mo xew.
Waaw li ma try pour establish fii mooy ne
What I would like to establish here is that
xëy na duñu jox minutes.
maybe he will not give us the minutes,
waaye verbatim dina ñëw explain na lu ñu ne lii ak lii moo am.
but he will explain to us directly, verbally, what had happened.
So foofu gap bi lu fa nekk mooy
That the gap there is that
ñu bañ a am anything written.
that we don't have something with it.
te loolu lay wax nii tey
And that is what I'm saying here today.
ne li fa sës foofu mooy
That what had happened there is that
kii moo ma ne kële moo ma ne.
this we said and the other one said so to me.
kële ne déedéet waxuma ko kii ne xakay waxoon na ma.
And somebody will deny to say, no, I have never said that you was in say yes, you do.
waaye foog naa gentleman agreement.
But I believe gentleman agreement,
which I'm not trying to say ne loolu moo war a am.
and of which I'm not trying to say that that should happen.
waaye am na ñoo xam ne dinañ mën a taxaw wax ne ok dëgg la lii ñoo ko waxoon.
But there are, and I think there are people who will stand to say, yes, definitely, this is what I have said this.
Yes, and so again, to conclude on that, you cannot ascertain whether it's exactly what is discussed at the SMT that is translated or to the council, because if you don't have access to the minutes, you would not know whether there is an omission or not.
Then I got definitely no defense meeting be pare ñu ñew ci yow di la ko wax ni isu na kayit wala minutes yi neena mën na nekk sa lu bari li nga xamne war nañ la ko won wala war nañ la ko wax duñ la ko wax mën na nekk tamit yoon bobu tamit lañ def ci SMC moy council fofu tamit mën nañ fa dem be pare am ñak minutes so am na lo xamne lu bari duñ ko won wala duñ ko waxe ko
lo digal.
That is true.
Now that was why my earlier point was that
that
if the CEO handicaps you as the mayoress and handicaps the council,
then a CEO should have a handicap more than the handicap council that
in relation to accurate flow of information.
Then
that the council to fully execute its function.
That is true.
Now, back to the authority for expenditure. You're familiar with the financial accounting manual for local government authorities?
nekkuma si master de comme li ma la wax rek moom mooy suma technicien bi moom ñoom suma advisor si anything loo xam ne bugga naa ko xam dama leen di oo ñoom ma laaj ko.
As I said earlier on, he is my technician and they are my advisors. So whatever I'm eager to know, I call them, ask them.
Let me read to you what it says on page 19, section 305, which states authority for expenditure.
Nina legi da fly jangal lua wam ne ko tege na ko wala ko tek jagar ko pour get gis ne mbiri dépense nakanga ko wara yowe.
Reads authority to incur expenditure is vested in council through budget approval. Mr. Bojo, do you mind interpreting that? I will take
it. Yes,
slowly.
May I hear very
That
yes?
authority to incur expenditure is vested in council.
Nena lulu lumone lumu jeka wa moye dole binga hamne johe na ko pour mu affaire dépense nena dole bobu johe na ko council mu si council
through budget approval.
Nena yoyu wone sukande ko moye si budget approval.
The finance director shall not make any payment.
Nena why finance director what the benefit
nor accept any charge.
Wala johe accept si ben charge charge dara.
Nor accept any charge in his accounts unless
nango ben charge account ambi hana suta su
authorized by the chief executive.
Su fekene chief executive di jona ko kado pour def lo.
And in accordance with the monetary thresholds.
Nena te actamit anda be monetary threshold
approved by each council.
Hinga hamne council bi dañ ko approve.
As regard the monetary threshold,
nena soko sete si monetary threshold bi.
It should be noted that
nena lulu wana wone ne
to a given amount, the CEO can approve and incur expenditure. without reference to the chairman or mayor
nee na loolu mun na ko def te fekk amul benn référence si chairman wala si mayor
of the council.
si council bi.
Up to a certain amount,
nee na dem na ba benn amount wala certain amount mooy nangam.
the CEO is required to consult
nee na CEO boobu moom joxuñ ko doole moom lu war mooy dafa war a consult.
and seek clearance from the chairman or mayor.
te si biir loolu dafa war a nit clearance si mayor wala si chairman.
Beyond a given amount,
si xaalis wala nangam bi nga xam ne njëg bi nga xam ne wax nañ ko wala joxe nañ ko.
the CEO is required to refer such expenditure
nee na CEO lu war si moom mooy expenditure boobu daf ko war a refer wala yooni ko si
to council to seek.
council mu daal di am approval.
Do you understand what it says?
nee na yëg nga wala leer na si yow lu mu wax. very well.
What do you understand?
nee na yow sa bopp loo yëg si wala loo xam si lu am.
mooy ne anything loo xam ne dañ ko spend it should be budgeted for.
Then that means anything that should be spent from council must be budgeted for.
And budget dafa war a dem council.
And the budget has to pass through council.
General council bi dafa war a nangu. Council, you may proceed.
Yes, please proceed. You were explaining what your understanding is in relation to the authority for expenditure as per the financial manual.
Okay, to sum it up, every expenditure should be budgeted for,
As I said, every expenditure must be budgeted for,
and budget should be approved by council,
and the said budget should approve by council,
and also there should be a ceiling. The forward ceiling,
and there should be a ceiling to that.
the ceiling book no so pass the CEO the forward co-yegal the mayor.
And if that ceiling is exceeded the ceiling, the CEO must inform the mayor.
That's correct.
In a lolo wow develop
Now, do you have this ceiling or this threshold during the period that you have served as mayoress in Banjul City Council?
Then a ceiling bobo wala threshold bobo then that lolo musma ko am tibi binga toge as mayoress in Banjul City Council.
Well, Banjul City Council,
Yes.
a ceiling.
Banjul City Council
I'm not ceiling.
have no ceiling.
Try now for so many times.
I tried that for many times,
Why work?
but it doesn't work.
What do you mean you've tried it so many times it didn't work?
Then as only I tried for many times, it doesn't work. What means it?
Well, bindo nare when ne so amount sangam sun spend.
I have written to say that if their the expenditure will be amounted up to something,
So put me mako de yegal.
let them inform me.
Who did you write?
Then
I wrote a memo
I wrote a memo
to the CEO.
to the CEO.
When was this?
Then
I cannot remember why do be na sabunya.
I cannot remember exactly, but it's more than 3 times.
And you wrote to say that there should be a ceiling.
Then yeah, been done till the one and ceiling the phone.
Wow.
Yes.
And what is the ceiling that you wrote should be enforceable in council?
Then nyata si ceiling wala nya la mo ceiling bi nga xamne yow sa bopa binding nga ko pour council.
I cannot remember me why memo be move
I cannot remember, but the memo is
it's
there. Should be there.
Exactly I cannot remember anymore.
I cannot remember exactly how much I wrote,
Why hot nani
Please proceed.
but I know that
muje would that.
it doesn't last.
Yes, we'll come back to that. Now that you are here, how much do you think should be the maximum amount that the CEO can authorize without your consent? And if it reaches that amount, it should be with your consent. How much do you think should be a reasonable amount for the safeguarding of the finances of country?
Nena come wanga ne linga bino mulo ko fatan ko nena wa legi yange to fi te yaw ya mayoress bi degi yaw sa halat bi nyata nga fokk ne sinje lolu mo war pour CEO bi wara do have without work laws.
Man lima halat man law.
Yes, what I think that's what you are saying.
Yes.
Yes,
Muna neka 100,000, muna neka 300,000.
it might be 200,000, 300,000.
Now, why was it not enforced?
Nena luta lolu enforce len ko ba top len ko.
Lulu mom wax diga yalla man munuma tontu legi.
For that really I can't be able to answer.
Why is that?
Nena luta
Man lima def rek moy suma effort ci la try pour mix on my xam lu xew.
what I did was I tried my effort to know what is going on.
But it's supposed to be a um, mandatory directive. It's supposed to be a practice that it must happen. In the language of the law, it must happen.
Nena li war na nekk loo xam ne lu war la te dafa war a. Parce que soo seetee si luwaa bi wane na ne lii dafa war a nekk loo xam ne dafa war a am.
Now, you have written several times.
Nena yow bind nga ay yoon yu bëri comme ni nga ko waxee.
The CEO must follow.
Nena te CEO war na toppa loolu.
And it was never followed.
Nena te musuta toppa loolu.
Who is at fault?
Nena fault bi si kan la.
I munuma wax kan mo neka fault.
I can't tell exactly who is in fault.
Why lead council li ma la bëgg a wax rek mooy ne
Dana luta. But lead council, what I want to tell you is that
commission bi council si yëpp a si jàngee.
this commission, all councils have knowledge or learn from this council
If I have to be very honest with you,
commission. If I want to be honest with you,
man damaa toog suma kër di déglu commission bi di dégg yoo xam ne si suma biir council bi yoo xam ne musuma koo xam sax.
I used to sit at my home, listen or follow this commission, and normally I learn a lot. I used to hear things that my council are not doing that.
Why as a leader,
As a leader,
you take responsibility.
I will take the responsibility.
Thank you very much. And again, that's why this brings us back to the earlier position that you held. So when we talk about authority for expenditure, the idea that a mayor or a mayoress or a chairperson that they don't have power for expenditure. The law says something different to that. The law says, go ahead. 3 people. I will refer to council as people. I will refer to, I have saying 3, that is the CEO, the mayor, mayoress, or chairman, as the case may be. Because some areas have chairman like become. And council as a general body. All of them have authority, should have authority for expenditure. Now, the CEO reports to you. Now, you report back to council which you head. The CEO does not have the full or absolute power to decide how much money goes in or goes out. And a CEO, above the CEO, there is the mayor or mayoress or chairman. And above the mayor or mayoress or chairman, then have the council. The mayor, mayoress, or chairman, council. Do we understand that? Then
Lead council xam nga yow dafa mel ni loi bi nga maa wax.
I think council are just telling me exactly what the law says.
Te foog naa xëy na loi bi tam moom lañ doon war di implement.
And I think the law have to be implemented.
Why councils they don't know that?
But council, we don't operate like that.
Because the CEOs.
Because the CEOs.
Administration bi tamit dañ am ñoo xam ne ñoo nekk si seen gannaaw.
And the administration too, they have people behind them.
Man duma toog fii di la fenal.
I will not sit here and tell you lies.
Parce que fii kenn jógee fi dem ñu rey la.
And nobody left here working.
Waaye su ma la ne mayors yi amul doole.
But if I say the mayors don't have powers.
Nangul ma ko rek.
Please, believe me.
And why is that? I don't.
Naa la fi ne la. Danga binda ministry.
You write to the ministry.
They complain dara.
Just complaining for something.
Ñu wax la carrément bu ñu bindaat.
And they will tell you directly, don't ever write us.
It's only the CEO who have authority to bind you.
It's only the CEO who have the authority to write us.
So there are a lot of frustration you have the money civil council.
There are a lot of frustration in council.
So I'm a CEO who have hell.
If you have a CEO who don't have mind,
he will relegate to 0.
He will relegate it 0 to you.
And leave my digal.
And this is the truth.
Appreciate
this is why I appreciate, or I want to appreciate whoever come here. You explain the truth between yourself and God so that we can be able to maintenance the council to good standard. But if at all the truth is the one that is prevailing, the mayors here.
This Banjul City Council, let me say this very clear.
Let me be specific. The Banjul City Council mayors here have more powers.
Yeah, so I understand the frustration that council will have generally.
nee na yëg na frustration bi nga xam ne council def ko de am wala de am nañ ko generally
with ministry.
si ministre si ak ministre yi.
We have dealt with this in the beginning. The permanent secretary was here.
nee na lii doxal nañ ko fi bu njëkk bi permanent secretary bi bëggoon fii.
We have told the permanent secretary where they have fallen.
nee na keroog yëgal nañ dañ ko yëgal fault ñoom set fault fal na la ba bàyyi sukkandiku.
In fact, so many.
te bëri na.
So we agree with you.
nee na nangu nañ te ànd nañ ko kaatu li nga wax.
To a large extent.
am na liñ ko daa toppa nañ na dégg nañ li.
Based on subject matter.
ci loo xam ne loolu lañ nekk di discuss mooy subject matter bi.
And that is the more reason why it's important, like you said.
nee na lii moo gën a am fayda comme yow sa booba ni ko waxee.
To see wherever fault lies.
nee na fépp nga xam ne fault am na fa.
Find out.
ñoom ñu daal di ko seet.
Hopefully.
ante gom naa ni.
The commissioners will make recommendation.
te commissioners yi nañ def recommendation.
And that is why we thank you that's why we thank you.
nee na lii moo tax ñu daal di la jërëm.
For your honesty.
ci li nga xam ne jub bi nga xam ne jub nga ko yàq lu am.
And your time and interest in this.
Time and interest bi nga xam ne am nga.
So that we also help each other to know the subject matter we are talking about.
nee na ñun lii moo tax ñu daal di try pour mun a xam subject wala loolu li nga xam ne loolu lañ nekk di wax.
Because when it comes to finance.
nee na because soo demee si biir finance mooy xaalis.
You have technically absolute control over your finance.
nee na am nga technical absolute control loolu mooy yow sa boppa si finance bi nga xam ne boobu ngeen amee.
Council decide how their finances are disbursed.
nee na council ñoo fi
Expended.
waxtaan ñu daal di tëral yoon bi nga xam ne seen finance noonu lañ ko war a dépassé.
And this, of course, will be in line with regulations.
nee na te lii foog na ne wala dafa war sax mu daal di ànd ak luwaay yi nga xam ne yooyu lañ tëral.
But your contracts, who you pay, how you pay them, the only person that you have to be answerable to is the regulations that are governing you.
nee na ak yoo xam ne contrat yi nga xam ne dañ ko defee dinañ léegoo ngeen fee ko nee na waaye loolu lu la war a jàppale si loolu wala li nga war a toppa mooy luwaay yi nga xam ne yooyu mu la wër.
Do you understand?
nee na leer na.
Okay.
Very well.
Exactly. So that the ministry cannot.
nee na ci kaw loolu da ngaa gis ne ministre bi du mun a.
To a large extent as well.
nee na duñu mun a def loo xam ne.
Dictate to you your daily expenditure.
pour ñu yëgal la wala wax la yow di nga war a defee sa dépense wala di nga war a dépense.
But of course, you will be audited periodically.
nee na waaye da ngaa gis ne yow moom tey da nga war a di audit at jamono bu nekk.
Do we understand?
nee na leer na. Yes.
So authority for expenditure only rests squarely on 3 tiers: the CEO, mayor, mayoress, or chairperson, and the council.
nee na wax na ko nee na dépense bi soo seetee ñetti xeer yooyu yi nga xam ne yow lam lay wax. CEO, mayor wala mayoress ak chairperson.
So what would be the difficulty?
nee na kon ban xari wala difficulty ngeen war a am si kii.
waaye wax naa la ko ma ne la yow yaa ngi quote from luwaa bi.
No, as I said to you that you are quoting from the law.
waaye council dafa am beneen luwaa bu nekkul luwaa bu xam ne moom lañ binda teg ko si bopp bi.
But we have another law at council of which is written and it's laid on top of the table.
te lead council suñ defee 1 million times commission.
And council, if we do commission for up to 1 million times.
te regularize ku nekk sa doole ak sa fan nga war a em.
And they don't regularize the authorities or the powers for each where to start or where to stop.
dinañ amaat yeneen commission.
We'll have another commission.
And I wish the commission bi dafa demoon ñu backdate ko 5 years ago before ñu si time.
And I wish this commission should be backdated for 5 years before our time.
So kon dinañ doon appreciate council si léegi.
Then the commission itself will appreciate councils the way they are working.
A typical example yaa ngi wax ne mayor bi dafa war a xam everything loo xam ne moo dee dox.
For instance, the example is that you have said that the mayor must be aware of whatever is going on.
And again, I want to underline ne li ma wax fii yëpp maa ngi wax in the context of Banjul City Council.
And as I said, I am specific. Whatever I'm saying here, I'm just talking through the context Banjul City Council.
Man gis naa fi ñaata witness over 20 witness yoo xam ne toog nañ fii.
I saw people who passed here before me, they are witnesses, more than 20 of them.
di wax about the EU project of Banjul City Council.
And they were explaining about the EU project at the Banjul City Council.
te man si City Council musuma ko xam musuma ko yëg musuma leen a gis xawma ci kenn fii laa leen gisee ñu toog.
I am at the City Council. I don't know them. I have never met them. I only saw them sitting here before the commission.
All right. We will of course reach to the EU project.
Nena so wala nañ fa jaar nañ fa aga si EU project.
And again, we will know, we'll try to find out. We will try to find out
Nete nañ def si gëstu pour mun a xam.
the level of knowledge that each of the players have.
Nena xam-xam bi nga xam ne wala yëg bi nga xam ne ku nekk ku bokk xam-xam bi nga xam si mbir.
But the issue regarding the problems of, like you said, I quote the law, which I only have to.
Nena wa so sete comme wax nga fi ne moom lu mooy wax si loi bi na ko tànne wala foofu la mu wane na waaw te moom dafa war def loolu.
And you were trying to tell the commission that there are problems that you face in relation to what actually obtains on the ground.
Nena te yow wax nga fi ne am nga texe nga xam ne yu dee xew si noonu.
So, for instance, when the Local Government Financing Audit Act 2004, Section 12.
Nena soo ko seetee Local Government Act Section 12, 2004 Section
Local
12.
Government Finance and Audit Act
Nena Finance and Audit
2004,
2004
Section 12,
Section 12.
which talks about financial autonomy of council.
Nena loolu wax naa ne affaire financial autonomy of council mooy pour ngeen taxaw seen bopp si mbiri xaalis.
Which reads, subject to the provisions of this act.
Nena te lu mu jàng mooy loi boobu noonu bi nga xam ne teg nañu ko.
And any other act.
Ak beneen loi bu bokk wala mu àndaa bi.
Each council has autonomy over its financial matters.
Nena council ku nekk am na taxaw na boppa pour mbiri nga xam ne dépense wala xaalis bi nga xam ne boobu la dee liggéey foofu.
Excluding the salaries.
Nena bokkut salary bokkut mooy fay bi bokkut.
Allowances.
Allowance bokkut.
And emoluments.
Ak emoluments yooyu bokkut.
So apart from these three,
Nena ñetta yooyu nga xam ne bokkut.
You can say have absolute control.
Nena yooyu council mun na wax ne léegi moom am nañu warugar pour control.
If you're paying a contractor $1 million,
Nena sooy fay contractor $1 million.
you just have to follow the procurement regulations.
Nena lu war mooy pour nga toppa procurement regulation.
And then you pay in the right month.
Te da nga war a fay mu waree.
Have to take any permission from ministry.
Nena warloo jël benn permission si ministry.
If you want to deal with a vendor
Nena soo buggee ab deal ak vendor mooy jaaykat.
on a daily basis,
Ne bés bu nekk.
you follow the procurement regulations.
Nena nga toppa procurement seen regulation.
You don't have to take any 1% or 0.5% permission from ministry.
Nena te foofa warloo am wala warloo am benn permission si ministry.
So have you ever had a problem? Have you ever had problem
Nena nda yow sa bopp mos nga am problème.
in relation to what I mean you is council?
Nena su dee yow mooy council seen area council.
In relation to expenditure,
Nena lu bokka wala lu ànda lu mel ni dépense.
where it is not within the areas of salary or allowance or emoluments.
Nena li nga xam ne boo ko tax ñetta yi mooy waa salary allowance wala emoluments.
Ministry ever interfere with this with your daily expenditure?
Nena na ministry mus nañu la interfere wala dugal seen loxo si dépense.
yëguma ko parce que man duma di deal ak yooyu.
No, I'm not aware because I don't have any dealings with that.
Exactly. So that is why I said
Nena li moo tax mu ne.
this is squarely on the council itself.
Nena loolu dafa tegu si council si boppam.
Entirely.
Nena yëpp si council bi loxo council la.
Do you agree?
Nena nangu nga loolu.
waaw.
Yes.
Now, this is particularly important
Nena lii dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa am fayda lool.
because so many payments have been made,
Nena am na fay yu nga xam ne bari nañu fay ngeen ko def ngeen ko.
which appears to not follow,
Nena te soo ko seetee yooyu ànduta.
not andut, family andut, appears to have not followed
Nena dafa mel ni àndut
with due process.
ak yoon bi nga xam ne yoon bu tegu.
By due process, I mean the financial manual,
Nena soo ne due process mooy toppa financial manual.
the Financial Audit Act,
Financial Audit Act
and the list goes on.
te loolu muy toppa.
Now, what are the mechanisms that you have in council
Nena kon yen council ban mechanics ngeen am li nga xam ne yooyu ngeen tëral foofu mécanisme
to monitor
pour ngeen mën a seet ne monitor bi
the accounts of council,
mooy seen compte bi mooy compte council
expenditure
mooy dépense
of council.
council.
Comme ni ma ko waxee woon rek man I rely entirely on the CEO.
As I said earlier on, I rely entirely on the CEO
Pour mu wax ma upgrade ma on council's accounts
to upgrade me on council's account
and to advise me the way forward.
and to advise me the way forward.
Would you know?
For example,
Please proceed. Please proceed.
for example, so nit ñëwee ut si sponsorship, for example, scholarship.
For example, if somebody appear to look for a scholarship,
Dinaa ko oo
I will call him
wax ko jox ko paper bi
and inform him, and I gave him the paper,
and then he will advise me.
and there he will advise me.
Su fekkee ne budget bi mu ngi fa
If the budget is already there,
proceed.
then we proceed.
Now, the CEO,
Nena léegi CEO bi
as we have discussed,
li nga xam ne wax nañ bi
is below the hierarchy. It's down at the hierarchy in relation to having powers for monetary treasury.
dina soo ko seetee moom nekk na loo xam ne dafa néew doole pour mun a taxaw lu ñuy wax si place bi nga xam ne threshold wone.
Is it because council did not know that there should be check and balance in relation to what the CEO approves or not?
xanaa council wala xamuñ ne am na loo xam ne wala dafa war pour ngeen war a check li nga xam ne council bi mooy balance li nga xam ne CEO bi def ko tegal da ngeen ko war a seet bu baax.
Going by the regulation for authority for expenditure.
nee na soo toppee loi bi nga xam ne dafa tegu pour doole bi nga xam ne moom la joxe pour mbiri dépense.
Because it appears as if council did not know
nee na bi ko soo ko seetee dafa mel ni council réglé loolu.
this regulation
nee na waaye dafa war loi bi dafa war a tegu
to monitor expenditure.
pour nga gis ne loolu mun a monitor expenditure bi.
nekkul ne xamuñ ko de
It doesn't mean that we don't know about it.
because wax naa la ko ba ne la bind naa du benn yoon du ñaari yoon même.
As I told you that I wrote a memo more than twice.
Because this should come from council.
Then because si council la war a bàyyi.
So number one, we will even apply that you produced the letters that you have written to see.
nee na léegi saa lu ñoo def fii mooy mun nañ apply pour nga gis ne memo yooyu nga bind si CEO nga dal di ko isi.
Can you do that?
na maa mun ngaa def loolu.
Please write it down.
nee na mun nga ko bind pour nga bañ a fàtte.
Thank you. So why I said that
loolu tax mu wax loolu.
is because the same law that provides for the authority for expenditure, section 305 of the financial manual.
nee na benn loi bi la ne léegi bi nga xam ne moo amee warugal pour affaire yi fa dépense bi.
Section 306 states.
nee na waaye soo seetee si benn fànn lu mu wax mooy.
Same thing, monetary thresholds in emergency cases as well.
nee na benn kàddu la wax mooy monetary thresholds pour nga waaye leen li nga xam ne loolu la threshold bi.
That council should approve.
nee na bi nga xam ne council moo ko war a approve.
The same with the authority for expenditure, council should approve.
nee na benn doole bi la bi nga xam ne authority la pour say council daf ko war a.
So not the chairman or the mayor or the mayoress.
nee na du chairman du mayor wala mayoress.
There should be a resolution.
nee na dafa war a am loi wala loi bi nga xam ne ko tëralee muy resolution.
From council.
jógee ko si council.
To say that CEO up to $100,000, you cannot go beyond this.
nee na ñu daal di ne CEO after 100,000 nee na doo mun a def wala def lu nga xam ne dafa egg wala def ëpp loolu.
After $100,000, you must seek for clearance, you must consult the mayoress as the case is in Banjul.
nena dépense bi su ëppee 100,000 lu war mooy da nga war a seet ak tal yégal mayoress bi
The
comme
same
Banjul
resolution should also state
nena te resolution bi tam dafa war a wane ne
that mayoress, you cannot approve payments beyond example, $500,000.
nena te yow mayoress tamit boobu dafa la war a woon ne doo def fee bi nga xam ne ëpp na 500,000
If it exceeds this,
nena su ëppee loolu
you must bring it to council.
nena wax dafa war nga yow isi ko si council
So if the council did not pass that resolution,
nena léegi resolution boobu bi nga xam ne dafa tegu council suñu leen ko passé pour wol leen ko
it's two things. Is it the council did not know,
nena ñaari affaire la ndax council benn bi nag mun nañu wax ne council xamuñ
or they knew but failed to do that?
nena kon ñaareel bi mooy xam nañ ko waaye fail nañ pour def loolu
Do you understand?
nena loolu leer na si yow
mun naa remember benn time ñu doon wax affaire yi de CEO war to spend more than 500,000.
I can remember there was a time that it was said that the CEO cannot expend more than an amount of 500,000.
Why I can't remember any time ñu jëlee decision ne
But I cannot remember any time that the decision was
taken in council
taken in council
pour wane ne dañoo ceiling.
to show that we need to have a ceiling.
Waaye leena tamit moom laa bëgg a wax fii
But one thing I want to make it clear here,
soo seetee the spending of Banjul City Council.
if you check the expenditure of Banjul City Council,
Banjul City Council dafa nekk council boo xam ne financial muscle sami
but Banjul City Council is a council which you know that the financial muscles,
xëy na soo seetee within 8 years
if you check about 8 years ago,
within 8 years
if you check about 8 years, within 8 years,
spend 500,000
what we spend, the amount we spend for 500,000
about 500,000
or above 500,000
benn yoon one off 500,000
it's only one time of
no bu ñoo spendee one off 500,000
or when we spend the 500,000
su ko seetloo the 8 years yu ma fa nekk
if you check the 8 years while I was serving,
su baree ba bari to pass 5 6 7 times
if at all, if you count it, it will be less than 6 to 7 times
because council bu ndaw la
because it's a small country
xaalisam tolluwut noonu
and the monies or the finance is not very much.
xëy na moom fu mu dooree di amee spending bu bari
Because where we started doing much expenditure,
mooy si EU project
that is when we get into the EU project.
waaye pour mu génnee 500,000 léegi dina jënd dara
But to pull out 500,000 to say we are going to buy something,
mënuma ko remember lu passé juróomi yoon ba juróom benn yoon
I cannot remember that more than 5 to 6 times.
You mean individuals isolated cases of expenditure or the yearly expenditure?
Then alone mean come then send dépense bi wala at bi yëpp.
suñ la
Nee na lu mooy laajte di dépense boobu nga wax 500,000 bi nee na dafa nekk loo xam ne da ngeen ko dépense pour at bi yëpp la wala.
non pour comme benn yoon one off ñu jënd dara
No, it's just once. Case you're just for instance to buy something.
Let's say, for instance, you want to purchase furniture.
Nee na dafa mel ni léegi dañ jël exemple comme nga bëgg a jënd ay bagages léegi.
Yes, but what would be very ideal in this circumstance is the overall expenditure in a given year. Is the overall expenditure in a given year.
Nee na léegi bu ñu seet na loolu dafa nekk loo xam ne dépense bi nga xam ne yëpp pour at bi la.
waaw lu nga wax dëgg la dama la bëgg a woon rek ne la
Yes, because what I said is
yaa ko ne xëj na council si xamuñ
as you said that might be council, we are not aware.
so xëj na soo toogee gis na defuñ xëj na silin ne si yow na su spendee 500,000 na ko wax council
As I said, because there are nothing like a ceiling of which if the CEO is to spend more than 500,000, they need to inform council.
xëj na loolu dafaa ñëw benn yoon o ñaari yoon si at bi
I know maybe that comes once or twice in the year.
No, that would only be an example.
Nena lolo mo na neka example.
You can even say that $50,000 it has to be cleared by the mayoress.
Nena mga wane come for instance 50,000 wane ko kaya si mayo.
Says
So nega 10,000.
what the council decides. You know your budget, you know your income at the end of the year, realistic. You know how much money you generated, so you can decide based on that.
Nena lolo mo na neka sa halat paske yaw sa ko pa ya ham nyata nga deja wala lo am si halis nyata nga jeni si halis wala lo nyata fa neka.
So I was just giving an example.
nee na loolu moom just exemple nga rek.
The idea that you should have the threshold.
nee na pour wane ne yow dafa war pour nga am threshold.
Now back to my question.
nee na soo delloo si laajte bi.
Did council know about this authority for expenditure?
nee na ndax council yëg nañ autorité bi pour mbiri dépense loi bu tegu.
Or that they do not know?
wala ñaareel bi ndax yëgu leen xamu leen.
council is nañ ko xam because we have seasoned councillors yoo xam ne ñu ngi fa woon balaa council bi sax.
Council are aware and she told that there are councils who were there before this.
So the lack of, in the absence of issuing or passing a resolution for the adherence to the authority for expenditure, would that be deliberate then?
nee na kon pour nga gis ne jox leen solution bi nga xam ne wala jox leen ko ko xam ne kooku moo war pour def dépense mu ñaaka ko kon loolu dafa mel ni du def leen seen waruwaar wala seen yoon.
xaw ma lan moo nekk seen mind si.
I don't know what was in their mind at that time.
waaye wax naa leen ne man suma bopp jëloon naa jéego.
But as I said, as myself, I have taken action,
ma binda.
wrote,
te du benn yoon du ñaari yoon.
and it's not one, not twice.
waaye wokkut.
But it doesn't work.
But on your side, yes. But on council's side, it can only be deliberate because they already told us that they knew that they had this authority to put the ceiling. They never put the ceiling. It's a failure on council's side.
And I see how some of wow, they gala, no mom definitely sorga. Then I was say pour council, them na come yow sa bopp wax nga ne yëg nañ ko te defuñ ko. Nee na kon loolu dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa manqué loolu si liggéey bi.
waaw buñ teel a wax ne jëliñ ko mun naa am tamit mun nañ mus nañ ko wax ma fàtte.
If I say that, probably they have ever told me and I forgot.
So you said ñu demaat back si minutes rek.
No, we have to go back to the minutes.
So the issue is, if they've ever passed a resolution like that, we have interviewed the CEO. We don't even see a council generally that would adhere to this regulation.
Nee na su fekkee ne resolution dañ ko pass nee na war nañ fi ak CEO bi nee na waaye dara wone te council yi sax am na ñoo xam ne sax definitely resolution bi dañ ko tegu si kaw seen kanam.
Some have it as a matter of practice.
Nee na am na ñoo xam ne dañ ko am as a matter of practice.
Like for instance, in KMC.
Nee na waaye soo ko seetee KMC.
Some will say that if we need to make a payment up to $100,000,
am na ñoo xam ne dañ dee wax ne su bëggee def fay mu dem ba $100,000.
first consult the Lord Mayor Ahmed Bensouda.
Nee na fukk ñu consult Lord Mayor Bensouda.
One or two will say it is $200,000.
am na ñoo xam ne dañoo wax ne $200,000.
Some will give you a different figure.
am na ñoo xam ne tamit dañ lay di jox njëg bi nga xam ne bokkul.
They don't have a resolution.
Nee na amuñu resolution.
At least we haven't seen it.
because gisuñu ko.
They didn't produce it.
Nee na mënuñu ko wane fii.
But at least they will tend to have that practice in council.
Nee na waaye ñooñu dañu wane ne am nañ practice boobu si council.
Again, my opinion is
nee na ñaareel bi si xalaatam bi mooy.
it will even be wrong for them, KMC,
nee na da nga gis ne KMC loolu sax dafa nekk yoon boo xam ne
to even have the practice
pour practice bi.
and not have the resolution to
te
follow.
amoon resolution.
But I'm just saying that that is how, like you were saying, sometimes the actual operations of council is different from what the law says.
nee na te loolu soo ko seetee mu la bantuwaat comme yow wax nga ko fii ne am na doxal bi nga xam ne da ngeen ko dee doxal dafa àndut ak resolution.
And we want to know why.
nee na te dañ bëgg a xam lan am na tax loolu.
And you've helped us to say,
nee na te yow da nga ñu jàppale nga dal di leeral rek.
you've helped us. You helped the commission to state
nee na da nga ñu jàppale commission bi ñu dal di state ne.
that, for instance, BCC, you don't have that.
nee na BCC wax nga ne ko.
And then the general council is very, to be honest, is very let me say equipped with experienced councillors, so they must be in the position to know.
nee na te general council am na ñoo xam ne ñoom am nañu xam-xam lu mel ni loolu te ñoom tamit am nañ dañu wax pour xam ko.
So why I said if they didn't do it, then it's deliberate.
nee na lii moo tax mu ne su fekkee ne defuñu ko wala defuñu ko kon dafa mel ni dañu ko tey.
Understand?
nee na nangu nga loolu.
waaw li council foog naa bëgg naa pour nga understand leen tamit.
Lead council, I want you to understand one thing.
Banjul City Council is very, very different from other councils.
Banjul City Council is very, very different from other councils.
ñun bu ñëw si council bi.
When we came or we are coming to council,
benn page of handing over sax loo xam ne moo ñoo direct amuñ ko.
We don't even have a single page of handing over.
And most of us were new.
And most of us, we were new.
So luñ starté ñëpp di ko doon def.
All what we started doing,
Te soo ko seetee 90% of liñ doon def yëpp dañ fa wrong.
and if you check, probably all the 90% of what we have done was wrong.
Liñ doon demee rek mooy.
Because the way we were moving or doing things were
nii la ko ñi doon defee nii la ko ñi doon defee.
as okay, these people were doing it like this, so let us follow it. Or that is how they were doing it. That is how we were doing it.
Loolu moom dëgg la bu mu fa woon.
That is true. That was happening there.
So xëy na loolu yëpp moo indi tamit.
And I think all that is the cause of.
Because we are more into nii lañ ko doon defee than even luwaa bi lu wax.
As I said, we follow the people who were saying, oh, we do as they were doing it like that, differently from what the law says.
Because soo bëggee dem too much si luwaa bi tam.
Because if you want to follow the law too much,
di nga am blockage feneen.
you'll have a blockage somewhere.
No, you don't have a blockage.
No, don't have blockage.
The law will give you, if you follow it.
Then the law will support it.
It's not perfect.
Then the prophet.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
In fact, it has so many areas that need to be reviewed and amended.
Even
perhaps to help you in administration on a daily basis. But it's more perfect than not having or following regulations.
Perfect for regulations.
No, it's better than not having or not following the structure, not following the law. No.
Understand naa li nga wax.
Yes. Yes. So.
Yes, I still understood very well what you are trying to say, but now I still want you to understand that I am the one sitting on that position. And I took out here, I don't want to sit here and now I'll be very shameful to do that, and later on trying to I'll be very ashamed to do that here. But I had a lot. You know, truly speaking, I was not even aware of that. But as I said, what you learn as a leader, some of things you need to do. If you agree, and we need to make it clear.
For the interest of for
the interest of the person coming to us.
For the interest of accountability and transparency.
And that is accountability and transparency.
So position.
If you don't sit at my position, what I'm saying you will not understand. What I want to tell you is that
the system is polluted.
The system is polluted.
Why so I'm not
talking about other councils. I am specifically on my own council. You will not know. So a lot of things happened. But later I think all those things will be revealed.
Understand.
That is where you should understand. What I know and what I don't.
Why didn't respect this commission?
What I want to assure you that the respect that I have for this commission.
Appreciate commission.
And the appreciation that I have for this commission.
Because commission bit the new man pour legacy.
It seems the commission came specifically for me to make my I will have nothing to say that I will sign. No.
Again,
and however difficult it is, I will tell you this is how it happened. Because I had a lot hearing. And I know that does not help the commission.
Again, thank you very much. Again, this is the intention of the commission.
And I leave my commission.
You are very right. It's not easy to be a leader. It's more or less to be the leader of a whole jurisdiction, of a whole area council or city council.
City council or area council.
It's very, very difficult. And so we know, even if we're not there, we understand.
How it is.
and more so
En la société tamit.
to answer to the public
Nena pour nga tontu simbolo
regarding how the administration of the area council was done.
nena pour nga gis ne pour leeral biiri administration council naka la meloon.
To even willingly come,
Nena boobu moom def nga ko si sa xar wii
participating
participate
to help give information.
pour nga jàppale ñu am information.
It's also commendable no matter how difficult it
Nena
is.
loolu tamit nekk na loo xam ne dañ la gërëm kontaan naa.
It's noted.
Nena yi nañ ko.
Back to the issue,
Nena suñ deelee si mbir mi.
what I was discussing with you,
Nena luñ nekk di waxtaan ak yow mooy.
there's so many payments
Nena am na fay yu bëri.
that councils will engage on.
yi nga xam ne council war na engage si fay yooyu.
In this case, BCC,
Nena si BCC.
that will appear to not be in line
Nena société àndut ak mbir mi
with regulation.
ak loi yi.
Now, we had talked about the financial manual,
Nena wax nañ fi affaire financial manual.
the Financial Audit Act,
Financial Audit Act
Financial Audit Act for local government area councils,
for local government area council.
the Local Government Act,
The Local Government Act,
Procurement Regulations.
procurement regulations.
Does council follow all this
Nena council ba daf dee toppal loi yi yëpp lu mu la lebal ni.
in deciding which dalasi goes to where or how the monies of council are spent?
Nena si biir nga xam ne mooy xaalis koppar bi ngeen am ne council naka ngeen koy defal si.
loolu nekkul suma liggéey.
That is not my job.
Administration ñoo def loolu.
The administration used to do that.
waaye dama rafet njort ne
But I think so for them to,
ñu ngi ko doon def nañ ko
they were,
ni mu correcté.
they were doing accordingly.
parce
Correct.
que léegi nag ay kayit yoo xam ne
Because sometimes I do see some documents,
ñu ne GPPA la jógee.
they said those documents are from the GPPA.
su ñëwee for exemple buga dara like for exemple gaamu am.
When somebody came and needed something, for instance, a gamo,
ba cooj bi xewle dara.
or church, we need something.
suñ ñëwee ma minute ko.
When they came, I minute that,
dama ko minute bu dem si CEO bi.
I minute it, and after it passes to the CEO.
waaye pour man.
For me,
because all those line of budget, line of expenditure boobu noonu.
all those lines of expenditure,
they are all budgeted for.
they are all budgeted for.
because am nañ religious budget.
Because we have religious budget,
am nañ culture.
we have culture,
etc. and so forth.
etc. and so forth.
so su scholarship amee.
So when it happens, scholarship part,
ma minute ko jox ko.
I minute and give it to him.
man foofu la ko jëlee si budget boobu noonu.
Well, for me, I think thinking that he will get it from the said budget.
so foog naa ne tamit ne procedures yi they were going on.
And I thought that all the procedures were going on.
rightly.
Right.
The Lord Mayoress, it is your job.
Then I learned something again now.
It is job of council.
Then I learned council.
In fact, the law makes it your job and the job of council.
Then I learned law. Of course,
in fact, the CEO is answerable to council.
Then the CEO, yao, the answerable to council.
Let me read to you
Then I'm
administrative structure of council.
Administrative structure of
Council. The Local Government Act.
Council. Local Government Act.
It says Chief Executive, section 42 sub 1.
Then I learned Chief Executive, sub 1.
42 sub 1.
42 sub 1.
There shall be a chief executive for each council whose office shall be an office in local government service and shall, subject to the provisions of this act, be subject to terms and conditions which may be prescribed. 2, a chief executive shall be appointed by local government service commission after consultation with the chairperson, who may attend all proceedings and deliberations of the commission when considering the appointment of a chief executive. 3, the applications for the office of the chief executive shall be submitted to council for its prior comments, and you have functions of the chief executive. For the 3 sub 1, the chief executive shall manage the affairs of the council and shall be answerable to the council and be subject to its direction and control. Sub 2 says, a chief executive shall, in the exercise of his or her functions, report to the chairperson. Do you see this?
Wow.
Yes. So it is the responsibility of
Yes.
Council and the responsibility of the chairperson, as the case may be, the mayor, as the case may be, or the mayor, as the case may be.
Nella lesa responsible council mayores, mayor chairperson.
The chief executive is not working in isolation.
Nena isi CEO bi nekot di liggéey moom nena wala moom kenn.
He is not the most powerful in council.
Nena te nekot ne moo jëna am doole si council.
Council is the most powerful, then the mayor or mayoress, then the chief executive.
Nena council moo ko jëna am doole, mayor moo ko jëna am doole, ten nga am CEO.
Do you understand?
Nena leer na.
I totally agree.
I totally agree.
Waaye foog naa di nga nangu tamit ne
But I think you two will agree that
council every month benn yoon day talk, for example.
council every month we used to have sittings once.
The CEO ak mayor bi bokkuñ yoon.
The CEO and the mayor, they are not of the same way.
Loi bi wax na ne dafa war a answerable to mayor bi.
Then, as the law said, he's answerable to the mayor.
Waaye going back si li ma la waxoon ci njëlbeen.
But going back to what I have told the commission bureau,
lim ma wax rek laa mën a xam.
whatever he told me is what I'm aware.
Lu ma waxut mënuma koo xam.
Whatever he don't inform me, I cannot be.
The structure of council ni mu demee.
And the structure of council,
luñ bugg ma xam laay xam luñ buggul ma xam mënuma mus ma ka waane ba xam.
whatever they want me to know, I will know. But if something that they don't want to know, me to know, I will never.
No, let me assist you in that.
Nena mu jàppale si loolu.
If you have the right structures,
Nena soo fekkee ne da ngeen bind structures.
there's no way
Nena amul benn yoon.
that anything will happen
Loo xam ne xew na foofu.
in your backyard
Si sa biir mbir mi.
without.
Te yow yëguloo ko. Ne dafa mel ni famille.
It's like the father and the mother.
Ne dafa mel ni baay ak yaay.
You have to know.
War nga xam.
You must know.
Te yow da nga war ñu xam.
Maybe not 100%.
Nee na mun naa ne nga 100%.
That is why you will be aided by other institutions like National Audit.
Nee na lii moo tax dañ la war a jàppale di aide loo xam ne dafa nekk yeneen institution lu mel ni audit.
You will be helped by internal audit.
Nee na internal audit dañ lay jàppale.
You'll be assisted by procurement.
Nee na procurement tamit dañ lay jàppale.
These are independent institutions within or outside the area councils.
Nee na lii nekk na ay institution yi nga xam ne dañuy taxaw seen boppa wala daa ñu ngi si biir area council wala ñu ngi si biir.
Health council.
Nee na loolu dina jàppale council.
Any council.
Council bu nekk.
The CEO wants to hold information, wants to not transmit certain information.
Nee na CEO su fekkee ne bëggut laa jox wala bëggut laa yëgal lu xew.
At the end of the year,
Nee na su at bi jeexee.
every quarter,
Nee na quota bu nekk.
there should be reporting mechanisms.
Nee na da nga gis ne am na ay xibaar ay reporting mechanism
You have committees of council.
am nga committees council committees.
If they are effective,
Nee na su fekkee ne ñoom dañ nekk council bu effective.
you at least have 70% of information you need to have.
Da nga gis ne xibaar yu bëri yi nga xam ne da ko soxla foo am ko wala yegg ko da ko jot.
Do you understand?
Nee na dégg nga loolu.
Lii council.
Yes, it council.
Wallaay ni nga ko waxee dafa yomb torop.
As you said, as you are saying, it is very simple.
And trust that's how it's supposed to be.
Te ni nga ko waxee noonu.
And as you said,
noonu la war a nekk.
that is how it should.
waaye xam nga yow yaa ngi ko waxee ci biir buggi lu wax.
But as far as you are saying it true from the law,
so nga fàttaliku ne.
and you remember that
CEO bi ak ay ngoñam.
CEO has his inside.
xam nañ si seen bopp bi ne.
And they know very well that.
ne mayor bi yóbbuwut leen fa.
And the mayor does not bring them there.
xam nañ ne mayor bi mënul leen a daax.
And they know that the mayor cannot be able to.
xam nañ ne mayor bi mënul leen a suspend.
And they know that I cannot suspend.
xam nañ ne mayor bi mënul leen a wax ne seen bët baa ngi xonxa.
And the mayor cannot tell them that your eyes are red.
so yaa ngi try pour waxal ma lu waa.
So I know you are trying to tell me about the law.
man tam maa ngi try pour wax la li ma dunda.
And I'm too trying to tell you how I survive.
te foog ñëwuñ si ñu tase.
Unless we come, we all met.
council si du musa baax.
Councils will never be good.
man dama dee tukki ak suma colleagues yi.
I used to travel with my colleagues,
dama leen dee ñëwee.
but I used to.
because ñooñu ñoo dee indi seen si.
It's time for break. Let me just respectfully cut you short. I will chairperson. It's time for break. I've been informed by the registrar. It is time. When we are back, the chair will ask you to proceed.
Yes, we normally have 30 minutes recess. We will come back after 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We may rise.
Yes.
mun naa bàyyi lii fi